Welcome back to If I Knew You Better. I'm Brendan Davis, your host, and today's show is very special for lots of reasons, mostly because of the guest, of course, but also just a little bit because of how I'm going to release it. Today, my guest is CHEN, and as you might reasonably guess from her last name, Li is from China originally. But although that is a relevant theme that runs throughout her story, China is not the focus of this show. I interviewed Li back in Los Angeles for If I Knew You Better, but as I did 2 weeks ago with Raymond Ma's interview, I'm going to start cross-posting any episodes that have something of a China angle on my original podcast also, Big Fish in the Middle Kingdom. That show has built up a pretty nice following, and I want to make sure that as many people as possible hear some of these stories as I build the audience for this show as well. So now let me introduce you to our guest. CHEN is a very familiar face on U.S. TV, but her own story is, to me, a lot more impressive and incredible than the many shows she's appeared in. For starters, Li is probably the only successful Hollywood actor who got their start in a Chairman Mao thought propaganda performance troupe towards the end of the Cultural Revolution in China, back when she was a very little girl. She was born in Inner Mongolia, was a founding class member of the Johns Hopkins Chinese program at Nanjing University. Then Li moved to the U.S. for grad school, where she earned 2 master's degrees, and she began this dual professional life as an academic and as an actor. She landed in Chicago for grad school originally, and she fell into studying acting at the famous Piven Theater Workshop, which was run by Bern and Joyce Piven, who were also the parents of Jeremy Piven, who you probably know from Entourage and many films, as well as the director Shira Piven. Li worked and studied for years in Chicago. She moved to Hawaii for a second master's, did kind of every theater production she could, and she finally moved to Hollywood. Now, as of today, Li has built an eclectic film, TV, and theater career with roles ranging from the dramatic to the absurdly funny. But part of what's so incredible about Li's story to me is that she worked quietly and diligently over a 20-year period to move her entire family, one by one, over to the U.S. from China. And she talks about how she did that, and that alone is worth listening to this interview. I was so amazed with her story. I was really lucky to get to meet Li in the first place when she accepted a role in this short film that I produced back in Los Angeles earlier in the year. And when I heard Li's incredible story, I knew that I had to get her on the mic to share it with you too. So as I mentioned up top, I am cross-posting this show both on If I Knew You Better and my original China-focused podcast, Big Fish in the Middle Kingdom. But no matter where you hear it, I hope you enjoy it. You can visit crazyinagoodway.com and track down the blog or resources page for photos, show notes, and more. But now, please enjoy my interview with CHEN. CHEN, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me here.
I am very excited to talk with you, and you have an amazing story to the degree that I know it. And we'll talk about how we know each other and all these other things, but let's start at the beginning. How do you introduce yourself to people who you would like to know better?
I would introduce myself to be an actress and teacher and a mom.
Nice.
And
I'm sure the kids appreciate that.
Yes, and trying to be a good wife. Yeah, I would just, that's very simple, basic introduction for me. And somebody who is from China and who have been in America for 30 years and came to America for 2 master degrees and then brought the whole family to America.
This is part of why, again, I don't want to get ahead of my own story that I'm telling and your story that we're relating. But as I learned these things about you, I just was blown away. So let's start back there at your roots. Where are your roots?
From Inner Mongolia of China. Mm-hmm. That's where I was born, where I grew up. So I would, consider myself somebody who is from Inner Mongolia, although I am Han Chinese.
Right, and this is a distinction that, of course, I know since I live in China and have tons of Chinese friends and colleagues, but people hear Inner Mongolia. If you don't know China, people hear Inner Mongolia and they think just Mongolia, that's a piece of Mongolia. But no, it's Chinese. It's like mainland China territory, but it's sort of like the border in a way. It's sort of before the border. It's like right there at the border area.
Yes.
And a lot of the well-known cities, there's Erdos, there's, again, pardon my pronunciation, Hohat, or how do I say it?
Huhehaote.
Very nice, and that's why we collapse it if we're lazy English speakers. But so that's the nearest city to where you're from. You said you're about a half hour.
Yeah,
from there,
half hour away from Huhehaote. It's a little town called 茶树旗, or we call it 土默特左旗.
And I think I speak enough Chinese that I think I know what that means. What does that mean, sort of?
So that is actually like Huhehaote is means green city.
Right.
So actually, I don't.
I'm totally embarrassing you. Are you a real Chinese person? No, you are. You actually. What is your given name? Your Chinese name?
Li Hui. My last name is Li. That's my father's last name. Hui is given to me. It's like the collection of grass. So I think my dad said, wanted me to be like, green grass to be not noticed, but to make the world beautiful.
Ah, very nice. Very nice. So he's setting you up to make a difference in the world, but don't. It's funny because especially from there's an idea of not standing out. Standing out too much can be bad.
Yes.
Because if you stand out too much, people pay too much attention and you could get in trouble.
Yes.
And so that's definitely an old school, understandable mindset from that time and that place.
Totally.
So I've got to find out, you are very nice and very sweet and very modest. An extremely busy working actor. You're in so many shows. You've done so many things. People will put the links in for IMDb so people can look you up. But you work seemingly all the time. You're in multiple shows with people I know, or you've done multiple projects with people I know in my small world. And you were just nice enough to co-star in the short film that I produced here, My Favorite Season, which is how I got to know you.
Yes.
Which is so cool. And I learned, among many other things, how you started. How did you get started in the performing arts back in Inner Mongolia and China? And how did you get here today?
Yeah, I think one of the things, because my dad originally from Beijing, and he went to Inner Mongolia when he was actually in his teens. He decided to help the family and become an accountant. Went to Inner Mongolia, and then he met my mom in Inner Mongolia, but my mom is also not from Inner Mongolia. She's from Sichuan.
Okay, so the family is Han Chinese, but from
both my mom and dad are Han Chinese, but both my mom and dad like to sing and dance. So although they are not professional, but my dad is accountant. My mom works, in his company. So my mom likes to dance. My dad did all kind of performance, like a 快板书, the every spring festival, the company will have their staffs to do performances. My dad and my mom would, be part of those. So I think that's the first influence that I had. Then when I was 4 or 5 years old, I was chosen to be in a gymnastics team.
Okay.
So I started as a gymnastist, and then when I was 6 or 7, they think it's too hard for me. So said no more doing 体操,
Okay, they saw it physically difficult. The training is crazy. I've got friends whose kids have done that.
Yeah, but at that time I started a school. So during that there was the tail end of Cultural Revolution. So we're still praising Chairman Mao. We're still praising communists. So I didn't get to do any of those Cultural Revolution major severe thing, but we got to form the Chairman Mao thoughts propaganda troupe, 毛泽东思想宣传队. So I become one of the member of the school performing troupe. Since I was a gymnastist before, so my dance ability shows up. So I started when I was 6 or 7 years old to be part of from our district. They choose from different schools to form this troupe. So we perform all over the region and to praise Chairman Mao and communists. And that's how my start. So I got training to sing, to dance, to perform in outdoor stage for thousands of people.
Exactly.
So that's where I started, and then I keep performing even when the end of the Cultural Revolution. I was still doing performance, and when I was in middle school, when that all stopped, but we still have this performing troupe. And at one point, I almost go to join the dance school.
Okay.
I went to apply for that, but my parents said no.
Yeah. Were they? I mean, I'm afraid you might be in for a life of hardship as a dancer.
Yes. My dad said no. That's absolutely no.
What was his idea that you might do? Something like accounting or engineering, or something practical like that, or
also because even then, mostly we're just doing dancing, learning from the peasants, workers, soldiers. We go to, we learn how to shoot rifles. We go to dig the dirt. We go to the factory. Those times, still that time. The academically, it's not that focused. However, my dad has lots of books. So I love to read, even when I was little. Even those books, forbidden books, he
managed to keep some hidden away so you could read.
I self-taught myself to read the complex form too.
Excellent.
Because the Chinese,
So you read the traditional characters as well as the simplified, right?
I cannot write
and I'll weigh in just for the sake of people who aren't kind of China files or don't know. Nowadays in mainland China, you use the simplified characters, but of course the classics in any old books, I mean, they're all written in the traditional, which are much more complex and hard to read, and you can't necessarily, it's a different, language to read that stuff. And so that's a big deal because part of during the communist struggle, part of it was the simplified because they wanted to increase literacy.
Yes.
I mean, there are lots we could, a lot of negative things could focus on. One of the positive aspects was the attempt to increase literacy, which meant simplifying the characters so more people could more easily understand it. But the downside is that, it probably served the purpose in a lot of ways. Like the old books are no longer readable by a lot of people, but some people kept it alive to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think that really helped me a lot in term later when the whole country went back to the normal, the educational system went back normal. At that time, I started high school. So then, even during that whole time, I was always number one in my class.
Wow.
So, awesome. Academically it's always, so because my dad is very focused on academics.
He sounds like the dads I know now in Beijing.
Yeah, totally.
Making sure the kids have the best advantage.
Yeah, so in high school, when I started when I was 15, for whatever reason, in our little town, in my little school, no English teacher. But at that time, people started to, know that the foreign, if you want to go to college, you have to have a foreign language or something. So, but at that time, I think I found a radio station, learning English radio station. So I was 15. I stayed with my grandma. Grandma wakes me up every day at 5 o'clock. I listen to the learning English radio. So I self-taught myself.
Wow.
So then when I was 17, when the time come to take that 3-day national higher entrance exam, Gaokao, I was able to be one of the only in my high school went to a foreign,
because you had the English.
Yeah, so I actually went to the English major in the 重点大学. And then because we divided into the science major and the literature major, of course I want to go into the English, so I was in the literature major. So from our 300 high school graduate, only 3 went to college. I was the number one.
Wow.
The next 2 boys, they had like 20 points farther down than me.
Wow, that's impressive.
And I went to the English major in the Mongolia University.
And let me also, just for the sake, this is my understanding of this. You tell me if I'm wrong, but I think this is accurate. I know it's accurate now, but it's hard to understand from a Western point of view, and it was hard for me to learn it. Now I've learned it from people because of doing the show how China works and other things. But like here in the States, you can pick and choose your major, your college. You may not get into a certain college or a certain degree program, but there's some other school that's got that major probably, and you can go, okay, it's not Harvard, but it's this, or it's not this top state school, but it's a smaller school. But in China, it's really proscribed. It's really prohibited unless you hit certain criteria.
Yes.
So you can't just say, well, I want to learn English in college and I want to go here. It's like, well, but what are your grades?
Yeah.
What have you done? So what have you done so far?
Yes.
But the tracking of people, like I don't mean tracking like putting a chip in you, although that's coming. We all have one in our pocket already. But the tracking of people in terms of your path is this, your life path is this. That starts before people even, in some cases, that starts before people are like potty trained for the bathroom.
Yeah, we had
crazy.
not much choices. We had, the freedom here in terms of, you have your own opportunities. You decide you don't want to go to college, you go to 2-year, then you transfer to... And you can always
find work your way in.
Yes. But in China, I don't know. I left there for almost 30 years, right? But at that time, that 3-day higher entrance exam is all of us to put our,
That's your life.
Yeah.
Everybody's still, the Gaokao is still the college entrance, the college aptitude exam from high school. It still runs everybody's life.
For me, those 2 years, I have my plans, like minute by minute, study English, study math, and I also keep telling myself, don't pass the exam, I'll kill myself.
Oh,
literally.
Probably felt that
the
way.
pressure of it, because it's just, many kids did, but I just, that was because I knew I would get into one of those colleges, if it's not the 重点 major university, at least the regular college I could. So I knew, because but my record, like you said, it was,
you worked hard,
always number one. So I knew that I would be there, but going to English major was my first choice.
Right. And so you did that. Where did you kind of go from there? Let's go kind of linear for now, because your story's so good.
Yeah.
let's just keep going.
When I went to college, I basically stopped acting. So that's it.
To focus on the study.
Yeah, 4-year college. And then right afterwards, we graduate, not like here, you need to have PhD to teach in college. Yeah. For there at that time, so I graduated in July, then in September I started teaching the college. So I taught English in college for 2 years. Then I went to a program. Johns Hopkins University had a combined program.
In Nanjing.
Yes, I was the first year founding member.
What? Okay, so a little shout out to my friend Jonathan Garrison. You'll see his name tonight. Our screening of our film is tonight as we record this. Jonathan Garrison is our lead executive producer, one of my best friends back in China. He went to the program at Nanjing, the Hopkins program. I want to say, Jonathan, sorry if 92 maybe he went.
Oh my gosh, he's a 师姐.
That's awesome.
I'm
That's so funny.
86, the founding member, one of the founding first year grad students.
I know his program, and he's a nice, sweet, modest guy. He's really humble about his crazy accomplishments and his big old brain. He wrote his own program in Chinese, like for the teacher, like to approve, like his course of study. He co-created with the professor, and he wrote his study program in Chinese. It's like,
oh my gosh.
Okay. So me trying to remember just my basic chit chat when you got here, and where I'm trying to chit chat Chinese, and I've already like lost my basic like DD Chinese, and I'm doomed.
That would be really interesting. Never do that. Oh gosh, if he's there, he probably would see the pictures because we are
totally. And I'll have to. Well, I'll talk to him later today. Actually, that's so funny.
Generally, right after that part of my personal life, I generally skip it.
No one knows that, and I'm like, I got a whole story about that.
No, the going to Johns Hopkins program, of course, is great, but from that also. Turning point, because from there I came to America.
Well, it's your story. This is your interview. Despite my interjections, this is your interview.
So then from the Johns Hopkins, I did a 1-year program. I finished my program. I think now they have master degrees. At that time, when first started, it's just a graduate certificate. Mm-hmm. So the American students learn Chinese history, culture. Chinese students learn American culture and society.
Very cool.
So I was one of that. That's then amazing. From there, I came to America. I went to New Mexico State University, got my master's in education.
Okay.
Then I went to Chicago to teach. While I was in Chicago, I looked at the newspaper and then I saw ad says, "Oh, we're looking for a Chinese actress who can speak Chinese." Just like that, I was like, "Oh, I called."
Here I am.
I went there and that was like, I came 88. That was like a 1990, 89. Yeah, 88, 89, 90.
Okay.
I was in Chicago, so I went to, audition, and she said, "Do you have a monologue?" I was like, "What is a monologue?"
You're pretty new, yeah?
Yeah. So
for this Western style
she said, can
auditioning.
you perform something for us in Chinese? I said, "Sure." I just went there, I improvised. Then
Did you do one of the old propaganda numbers?
I don't even know.
Because they wouldn't have known what it is, right?
Then she said, "Okay." So then I got cast. It was the primary English class that play. It was playing an old Chinese lady. Everybody, from learning, English as an English teacher, French guy, German guy, Japanese woman, and Chinese old lady. So I got to play the old.
Oh, they did.
But at that time, I still had my nails so long, all kinds of. It was funny, the story, because I didn't want to play old woman.
Yeah, you're
I was 20 something.
Your 20s, right.
Anyway, so that was my first stage in America, and then the director said, generally, when we do this part of the things, we start with no pay. But I got paid $500 for doing that show. So she said, "You're a professional."
Wow.
I was like, "Oh,
that's exciting.
I wasn't sure."
That's exciting.
Then the next show.
That's really validating to know that, I could do this.
Then the next show, because I was a dancer, so right away I went to Chicago. I took dance classes. I picked up just for my own benefit. Sure. And then next show, it was some theater was doing Jiang Qing, Chairman Mao's wife.
Right.
So it's a one-woman show, but then they were auditioning the things, and they said they need a dancer or something. So somebody brought me in. So I had no idea, no clue. They hired a Italian American actress to play Jiang Qing.
What?
So, yeah.
Okay.
So the controversy, can you imagine controversy?
Today it would be that's front page news in the entertainment business.
1990, right after that show. Yeah. So, he used me to open the show with a dance.
Right.
Used me in the middle, did the revolutionary dance. Then used me as the Jiang Qing when she was young. She was an actress. So used me actually diffused a little bit controversy, but still she did the whole show. Yeah. That was the one big thing, because I got exposed to the whole
Chicago theater is legit. I mean, that's like real. Real theater.
I'm just having fun, right? I had no clue about all the political.
It's actually a big deal if you're
right now
co-starring in a theatrical show in China. I mean, Chicago. It's a pretty big deal.
So that was one of the things. Right away, the agent or whatever coming approach.
Is that how they found you? Was that really your first kind of your lucky break?
That was
getting in this show.
But I did this after that, just like 不可收拾了, one show after another. Basically, just go to audition. Eventually, some newspaper report me said, "Why, there's Asian American actresses, they don't get the role. Why you?" I said, "Well, because I am from China. Yeah. I am, if they want to find somebody and I can't speak English, I guess that's another thing."
Okay, yeah.
So I did during that 5 years, I think I did lots of stage.
Okay.
I did the commercials, all those things, but mainly stage. Then I decided after 5 years, and
it's okay. You tell us the version you want to. She's I can tell you're deciding.
Yeah, some personal things happened to me that triggered me that. At that time, I also feel like if I really want to keep going as an actor, so the director who cast me in the first show, later she's very supportive. I'm the woman who played the Chairman Mao's wife, Jiang Qing. We became friends. We spent 4 months together. She also encouraged me. At that time, I didn't even I just wanted to have fun. I was teaching, right?
Okay, right.
So she said, there's not many Asian American actors, and they're not really, strong and good ones.
Sure.
She told me, keep going. So those are two people played a very important part in my acting career in China, in America. So Karen is the first one who cast me in that. And later she was joking. She said, she and her husband said, "Oh, we've created a monster." Later,
we got you started. You've never stopped.
Yeah. So Catherine was the one who later she passed away. So it was really sad story. Catherine, who played the Italian American. Yeah. She had a brain aneurysm.
Oh, geez.
She was only 31. After I met her for 4 years. So thank you, Catherine. If she can see me now.
Oh, she'd be very, very proud of her friends.
Yeah. No, so she was. After that, in every production I was in, she would come to watch me.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. So anyway, after 5 years, because of a personal
like some life-changing stuff.
Life-changing happened, then I decided either come to LA, I need to move to LA, or do something else. So at that time, I went to apply for American Airlines. I got picked by American Airlines. I applied for several schools. And then I got accepted by University of Hawaii, their Asian Performance Program. And they also offered me a teaching assistant.
That sounds pretty great.
So then I decided to go to Hawaii. And even American Airlines said, are you sure? Is that really you didn't want to?
Were you a flight attendant or were you working?
Flight attendant. I was applying for... Because in China, 空中小姐 is one of the...
Yeah, it's a great... You want to get out, you want to see the world, that's how you do it.
Yeah, but at that time, one friend said, your flight attendant is just like a waiter.
Well, you're not going to have the time to do... Yeah, that's not a job... That's a job that for certain lives or certain kind of business you're building, you could also do that. But yeah, for trying to be an actor or go to college, it's not going to work.
Yeah, at that time, I was like... I also have motion sickness. So anyway, so I decided to go to University of Hawaii for my MFA. So I was there for 3 years. That 3 years, I did every major production. I did Beijing Opera. I trained for Beijing Opera for 6 months. Balinese Kichak 6 months, Japanese style 6 months. So I did every major productions there, and also taught. So after that, I came to LA. I'm like, I got my master degrees. I'm ready. So I came here for 2 years. Oh, backtrack a little bit to Chicago. So when I decided to become an actor, I of course have to study. So I started with the Piven at the Piven's workshop theater. So I started with the Jeremy Piven's mom and dad. Right. Joyce and Bern Piven.
And what's the name of that theater that they have or their school that they have?
Yeah, Piven Theater Workshop.
Right. And so for people who, if you know Jeremy Piven from, he's done lots of film and TV besides Entourage, but if you know him as Ari Gold from Entourage, he's from this, his parents were these leading Chicago theater people. He grew up in that. Yeah. And so, their theater has been an incubator for a lot of really great talent.
They train like John Cusack, right. And I did shows with Ann Cusack. John would come to watch our shows. Yeah. I actually at that time have had a connection with them. They trained a bunch of really, superb actors.
Sure. Did Tim Robbins go through that program?
Tim Robbins' sister, and they're also connected. I did a show with Adele Robbins. Right. So, also all connected in a way. So I remember I trained with them, and they gave me standing scholarship. They just, anytime.
Just come on in.
But I wasn't sure at the time. I stopped. I went to teach. And I remember Joyce at that time told me, she said, you have acting in your blood. You will be back. I always remember she told me that.
Pretty great to be able to plant that seed that's going to keep you motivated.
Bern Piven, he played a very important part. He wrote the recommendation letter for me when I apply for the
to go to Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Wow.
So my advisor, he and Burn Pivot used to be
They were friends.
branch out from the second city. So
yeah.
there's lots of connections. It doesn't mean, but
Sure.
it just...
but it means that they give you a fair shake. They look at it. They definitely consider you. They definitely see it.
He is Burn Pivot is a powerful figure in the theater world.
And if you're not good, they're not going to do that.
Yes.
So sometimes people go, oh, that's okay. Yes, this is, you get that opportunity if all the other things are there too.
Yes.
So that's great.
I was one of the good teachers there for that.
Yeah, right.
That 3 years there too. So that was a very important part of my life in training there. And then, of course, then came here. I said, I'm ready. That while I was in Chicago during those years, I was already joined the union, SAG-AFTRA. I remember at that time. But then when the school stopped, so I just, the SAG-AFTRA, you can make it inactive. So
right. So you kind of went on sort of standby mode.
Yeah. So then when I came back, I said, I'm ready. So I came, I went to, get my friends, Ann Cusack. So I started to learn the whole Hollywood thing, but I got pulled back like that because it was overwhelming, coming to Hollywood, right? Yeah. I did mostly stage. And then I got scared in a sense.
Okay.
So I would say that 2 years I did, some things just on the side, but just couldn't feel like fit in.
What? Okay, so let's drill down into that a little bit because that's going to be interesting. What scared you? Do you think?
I think as a young, also I'm Asian, right? First, you don't have. At that time, still don't have 1998, right?
Yeah, it's not as common. Yeah, you don't have a lot of references for your career out there that you can look at.
Not like that. And also just right away, I felt the other stories, right? Mm-hmm. And it feels like lost right away. Yeah. And I have agent right away to represent me, but just the whole thing that I started, and then I went to these parties and see, Anne was the one that also I was with Adele Robbins and Ann Cusack. I have a good connection.
Yeah, these are people, and they're welcomed in, and they can be comfortable because they're in the business and their families are in the business. And...
However, I felt overwhelmed and scared, and to see this whole, even at the party, to see how this whole Hollywood thing.
Right.
So I guess at that time I pulled back a little bit, and at the same time I came here. I brought my parents. I immigrated my parents here.
This is a whole other storyline. I love the way you're telling your stories. You tell it how you want to. One of my questions has to do, I have questions about like what's your biggest public or professional achievement and most meaningful, but also what are your most personally meaningful achievements? I'm guessing it has to do with you bringing your family over.
Yeah, the whole family.
Unbelievable what you
During 20 years time, I didn't use, lawyer, whatever, all by myself, and went through the legal status. I become a citizen first, and then applied for my mom and dad. I applied for my brother. I applied for my sister. And the last 2016, my sister's daughter-in-law was the last one that I helped. I just applied for the. Yeah. So my mom and dad waited for 2 years. Mm-hmm. My brother waited for 12 years. My sister waited for 6 years. My sister's daughter-in-law for 2 years because she's married, So the whole family is here.
That's so unbelievable. There's still, as you tell me, I know. You've got, that has to be incredible. Do you happen to live near each other?
Yes, right now, my mom just passed away 2 years ago, but my mom's came here for 22 years.
Wow.
My dad because she stayed. When they visited me, mom stayed, my dad went back.
Okay.
So my mom really wanted to be here. Okay. So of course then after 2 years, my dad, if at that time the visa is 2 years.
Okay.
Right now it's 6 months. If you got approved, you have to come. Okay. Otherwise you lose it. But at that time, so my mom said, if you don't come, according to American law, we're divorced because you don't live together. So my dad said, I don't want to be there. I cannot talk, speak, go. I'm like a blind. So,
sure.
But
that's how I feel in China. Only now I have an iPhone.
So when I first brought them all here, I was the last year of my grad school. Mm-hmm. So I have my mom and dad in Hawaii.
Wow.
So I was actually going to teach in Hawaii. Then I came to California, Los Angeles to visit a friend. Visit friend for 2 weeks. During the visitation, there was an audition for a play. I went to audition. I got cast for the play. Now I decided, okay, now I'm going to move to LA. I stayed. I told my mom and dad, clear my stuff. Within 2 months, I'm coming back to move you here.
Wow. And so they came to LA.
Yes.
And did your dad end up staying here? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the whole family. My mom and dad.
He was, at first, he was.
Yes,
now
yeah, he's okay. Because then my friend told me, if you want your mom and dad to feel comfortable, stay in Alhambra or Mountain Park.
You're outside like San Gabriel area, which people don't know LA. That's the biggest Chinese diaspora in the world is east. It's not East LA. That's different. That's a different diaspora. But east of Los Angeles, the San Gabriel Valley area, all these cities: Alhambra, Rosemead, Monterey Park, Arcadia, and it's the biggest group of Chinese people who aren't in China.
Yes.
In the U.S.
Yes. Yeah. So I find the world. I find an apartment in Monterey Park. And Monterey Park is like China.
Yeah, you can. It's totally. You can get in the middle of the intersection, and you could spin up 360 degrees. And unless you look at the California license plates on the cars, other than that, you could swear you're in like Tongzhou. Yeah, you swear you're like the suburb of Beijing.
All the signs is in Chinese, so that helped because my mom and dad right away felt at home. And they're very resourceful. Like first, second day when I moved them here, they went to take the bus by themselves.
Wow.
So my mom and dad is very adventurous, also very supportive.
That's really awesome. Yeah.
So that my mom and dad here, then I waited for another 6 or how many years? My brother waited for 12 years since 1994, right? 1994, I applied for the 12 years later, year 2006.
It took 12 years to get him approved.
Yes.
Not for him to decide.
No.
Because he decided
we
to do it.
We applied 1994, waited for 12 years because they have 4 categories for immigration.
Okay.
The people who married, husband and wife is the first category fast.
Yeah,
then
to keep a tight family together.
Yeah, the parents apply for the kids under 18. Or the not married. Then the 4th category is the siblings. That's the last. So, I think now probably without this immigration change, I think now I don't know.
Yeah, I just get sad whenever I think about anything political.
Yes.
These days.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of professional achievement, I mean, again, I'll put your link in. I won't embarrass you. I can see you're like, I don't want to talk too much about that. But what do people? What do you consider? I mean, we've already tracked some of these. You've had like these series of, at the time they were big breaks. Mm-hmm. What's sort of your biggest professional, in your mind, your biggest achievement professionally, or the thing you're proudest of? It doesn't have to be the thing that like is the biggest project or whatever. What's the thing that you're sort of like the nearest and dearest to you?
The biggest one still close to me is my one-woman show.
Yeah.
That was when I was in grad school. Even when I was in Chicago, when I'm doing theaters, some of the friends said, you have a story, you got to tell the story. So I told them, when the time is right, I will do my story. That was one of the, people have their goals,
exactly.
So when I went to Hawaii, then one of my friends her major is directing. Mm-hmm. I went for acting. So she know I have a story, so approached me. It's her directing project. It's my story.
Fantastic.
We wrote. So we
worked
meet.
together.
We worked. It's my story. She helped me. She grew up.
She was like a dramaturg, but you're the writer. Your story.
I write and she directed. I wrote and performed. So we had that first one.
So it's a 2-woman project and 1-woman show.
Yeah. It was really good, and then she applied for grants. We actually got a grant to tour. So then we made it even more, from the first one to. So it was really, there's lots of stories about just the growing up and coming to America because I'm a dancer. So we put the dance in there. She's a really good director. So we had like big reports from the newspaper from Hawaii, and then we toured in Hawaii and Los Angeles for a whole year. So all the libraries, so that was one of my big things, still close to my heart in a way. It's because it's like a therapy in a way to help me.
Well, and I know we would not do justice for me to ask you to summarize it, but what is the show basically? Like, what are the major beats of the show? Of the 1-woman show, Like what's the framework? Is it your story pretty much, or is it
totally my story?
So you kind of laid it out a little bit here now.
Yes, it's the story about doing Chairman Mao's propaganda, performing truth. Everybody said Cultural Revolution is horrible. It's a story, but to me, I was 8, 9, 10. I just had a great time. I'm singing, dancing, and praise Chairman Mao, and I just had I didn't have to go to school to study. Which kid wouldn't be happy?
You were lucky enough to be age-wise. And the historical timing and your age were those two magic factors where it didn't go on for 10 more years. No. You weren't old enough to, you can hold a gun. And, you didn't have to deal with the trickier parts of it.
Yes.
That's really fortunate.
Yeah, so that part, and then coming to America and to do the, cross and to do the whole acting thing that's bring me out, and then bring the family here. Yeah. So in my story is the whole thing about the bring the family here. How my dad, Yeah. So that was then looking forward to the future. The ending of the show was me with the map.
Okay.
Back to the Mongolian dress. That's where I grew up.
Right.
And then with the Li Bai, the poet, 床前明月光，疑是地上. Ending with the Tang Dynasty, the poet at that time still missing home, still
how's a little bit of that go?
Yeah, where is my root? From China to America. Although I'm doing what I want, but where's my home?
What if put you on the spot in Chinese? Because the poetic, even you don't understand that people like to hear. Like, a few lines of that in Chinese?
床前明月光，疑是地上霜。举头望明月，低头思故乡。
That's very evocative. My heart's got like a little skip there.
Yes.
What did you? And you basically were saying.
Is the poet by Li Bai? It said before the bed, the bright 床前明月 bright moon shines. You think it's the frost on the ground. You lift your head, look at the bright moon. You lower your head, you miss your hometown.
Oh, very nice. How have you approached dealing with challenges, adversity? I mean, you have done so many things, and this is not an easy business. It's not an easy career. Even when you're getting good breaks, and when you started where there weren't you didn't have as many people, so you were able to really be seen. But especially nowadays, you have a lot of. I mean, you're known, but there are a lot of other actresses who are sort of in your category in Los Angeles.
Yes.
How do you deal with just, challenges and overcoming this stuff, and like dealing with 12 years to get people, like bringing your family. That's like a massive thing to deal with, and it'd be easy to be discouraged by that.
Yeah, I think for me is the main thing is if I think this is what I want to do, I'm persistent. I don't let it any difficult to stop me. And also one of the things is I'm kind of a person that I don't think too much, or this is what if I have a difficulty, if I run into some difficulties, I would think about it's really bad situation, but it's 100%, 98% is really bad, but there are 2% is good. I hold on that 2%. That's one of the things, and I don't let the outside affect me. I just I keep my right thing to do. I don't hurt people. I don't, but I just then I like to help people, and I think that's one of the things. Also, another big thing is for me because I came here for the first 2 years. Then because I didn't feel like I felt overwhelmed when I saw those, especially in the party with like Ann Cusack, John Cusack. When I see them, I felt like so small, right? Because you already know they're very famous.
Right.
I pulled myself back. Then within 2 years, my parents is here. At that time, my mama wants me to get married again, or have children.
Right,
I love children. That's another thing. So now I decided. I said, okay. Then I still doing stage. I also the last big thing. I'm still doing my one-woman show around. The last big thing is I went to be a MC and a translator for this Kunji group from China.
Okay.
So I tour with them for 2 months as their So during that touring time, I told my mom and dad, I said, okay, that's it. Because they said acting. My mom doesn't want to be an actor. No way. My dad is, as long as I'm happy.
Yeah.
Right? But my mom, no, you are not actor. You cannot be actor. When I was in Chicago, they came to see me, the show that Jeremy Piven's mom and sister directed. Yeah. Newspaper, they even said, Li Chen's parents fly from China, for advertising.
Right.
My mom said, what are you doing there? She even looked for a job for me. She found me a travel agent job for me. I even listened to her when they worked for two months.
Wow.
I just
You really, filial piety is this concept that people are aware. It's a real thing with Chinese parents. So if you're listening to this and you're not Chinese, but you have Chinese friends, and sometimes they tell you stuff that they're dealing with their parents, it's pretty legit. This stuff is deeply rooted, even if you're grown up, and it just kind of never goes away. Yeah.
So at that time, I said, okay, I go to find a teaching job because I have a bachelor degree in English language. I have the Johns Hopkins degree. I have a master degree in education. I have an MFA.
You're pretty qualified, pretty overqualified.
So then I said, okay, now after that traveling with the troupe, their last stop is in Hawaii. That was also the time I said, okay, I'm ready to settle down. No more acting or whatever. Okay. A month later, I met my husband.
Okay.
Because I was ready. So I met him on April 1st, engaged June 10th, got married October 15th. Next year I had our first son.
Amazing.
I was out of acting. That's it. Okay. So
did you meet him in Hawaii, but he's not from Hawaii? Was he vacationing?
We went friend's wedding. Okay. My best friend's wedding. He was one of the.
He was part of the wedding party.
Best man. I was one of the bridesmaids. We stood next to each other.
Oh,
and that's
funny! Wow.
So that's another
amazing.
Story.
That's amazing.
So then I had my children. Then my dad came here. He went to learning English. So my dad said, "In China, you taught English. Why don't you teach English here?" Yeah. So I went to apply for the job. Of course, I got the job.
Sure.
So I had my baby. I got my job, and 10 years. Teaching, raising my 2 boys.
Okay. So 10-year break from acting.
Yeah. So,
no theater, nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
Basically,
no commercials, no.
Nothing.
Look at this dish soap and none of that. Okay.
No, just because I decided I'm going to raise
Focus
my children.
On the family.
Yeah. So, but my husband, at that time also because he lost his job.
Oh.
I think if he's a visual artist.
So you definitely had to work.
Yes.
Yeah.
If he still have his job, my original plan to keep doing acting
Sure.
and train my kids too, right?
Right.
He lost his job. I knew it would be hard for him to get a job. He's very specific. So then it's easy for me to get a teaching job.
Right,
so I got a job. And then when he eventually got his job back, and he said, Lee, I know that the happiest thing for you is to act. I said, yes, I know, but now I have 2 children. I cannot feel comfortable if you lose your job again.
Right.
Now I have 2 children. I'm a mom and dad.
Exactly.
So, and then 10 years focusing, teaching English and raising my 2 boys. Now my school, I teaching in adult school, and they closed on year 2010. Because I was going to just keep teaching until when I retire and I go back to acting.
You had to act when back later. Yeah.
Good money, good benefit. Why not? I have 2 children and my parents, And then the school closed because the financial situation of California. Then my husband said, go back.
Here's your chance.
So I came back to acting. So this is one of the things. Because when I come back, I am a mother. I'm so much more grounded.
Right.
I don't have any, thing. I just
You don't care about Hollywood parties.
Yes, no more. Come back, started to do student film. They need a Chinese mom. All these students from China, from Hong Kong, from Taiwan, who can speak correct Mandarin.
That's what I got to do. We needed a native Mandarin speaker.
So I started with doing student film for no pay.
Right.
And for 5 years, I think I did 40 productions.
Wow. A lot of footage.
Lots of footage.
Yeah, your reel was just
lots
huge.
of. Then I did some, the independent films and, commercials. Not major commercials, more focus on theatrical.
Yeah.
So I think I paid my dues in sense. My most important thing is because I have a family, I wasn't like, I must become famous, it's a love of acting.
Right.
But my husband's support, my mom turned her head is when I did my only Chinese speaking play in America.
Yeah.
I did one of the only Chinese speaking plays in America was this Taiwanese playwright who wrote a play about this woman's life, 14, 30, 70 years old, 100-year-old first. I got to play the 70 years old and 100 years old.
Wow.
So I brought my mom to watch the show. After she watched the show, she said, you can be an actor now.
Thank you.
Year 2009.
I am one, so thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was.
I get that.
Yeah. So that I think you must have a strong support because there's just so much rejection.
It's a brutal business. Yeah. Whether you're in front of the camera, behind the camera, near the camera, no few parts of it are easy. So
even that, you go to audition, you come out, you're like, why didn't I do that? Why didn't they pick me? And also not many roles for Asians.
Sure.
Then I came back and I went to my agent. My agent said, why did I get that? Because look, I'm be perfect. He said, well, you missed 10 years. Because when I go back to audition again, same woman who's 10 years ago didn't make it, is still there auditioning. So they said, we haven't seen you. I said, I went off to have a family.
Yeah.
No regret.
Yeah.
No regret. I did what, my
Absolutely.
best 2 productions, my 2 boys.
There you go.
So, but I come back with a more stronger background, more fuller as a person.
Right.
So that when I go to audition, it just, I'm there. And of course, being actor, you want, like the biggest one for me this year's was the Hawaii 510.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Let's talk about. Listen, it's time to brag a little bit, Lee. We got you warmed up. Now tell everybody what. Yeah, tell us some of your highlights. That and the show that you're doing.
Yeah. I came back year 2010. So within 1 year, I got my first co-star role at the Southland. Even my agent was surprised.
On Southland?
Yeah, that was my first co-star role, like one line. You know that some people for years, but and even he and his wife were surprised. Whoa, you know. Of course they're happy, you know.
Yeah,
so the second year, now I got cast for NCIS Los Angeles to opposite LL Cool J.
Oh, awesome.
So that was like...
How is that?
It was really good.
I've heard he's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's very nice. And for that one, I auditioned for Vietnamese lady. You have to speak Vietnamese.
Wow.
So I got my son's friend's mom to teach me that 2 lines of Vietnamese. Of course, then when I went to audition, now I saw the people who played my mom, there.
Yeah,
I had, so she even said, "Why are you here?" I said, "Well, it was supposed to be a 70 years old cemetery. The role is a 70 years old cemetery,
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, they sent me here up there." So I went in there, I did my line, and then left with the casting director.
Yeah.
I got a call back. That's great. So came back for the callback. Walk in that little room. The audition in the little room still scares me even now. I froze.
And people would be amazed. Sometimes it's like the size of a broom closet. Yeah. And like, wait, I've got to act and feel unencumbered in this closet.
6, 7 people there with a casting director there.
Yeah. Wow.
I walked in. I'm like, oh my gosh.
There's barely enough air for you to breathe in a room like that.
So they looked at me. I did my line. And so the casting director asked me, I said, "Lee, do you know who you are talking to?" I said, "No, I didn't do any research. I didn't know what show it is." Okay. Anyway, I said, "No." And he's sitting there where I said, he said, "Well, you're talking to a very tall guy." I said, then they said, "Can you do it again?" Then there was a writer right there. And he said something too. I forgot what he said. But anyway, at this time, I forgot my Vietnamese. Remember, I had to memorize. At this time, I forgot my Vietnamese.
Because they're giving you all these notes and you're like...
I'm like, okay, whatever. So I looked up. I just gibberished. The whole group burst laughed.
What'd you say? I
have no clue. Because I forgot my Vietnamese lines.
But you acted it in a funny way.
I look up because he said this part. I just, they all laughed. And so I said, "Thank you very much." I laughed. Yeah. On the way home.
Running to your car.
On the way home, my agent called. They said, "You're on a veil."
Nice. Which basically means, again, you got it unless the sun explodes or something. You basically
so then they booked me and gave me 1 week they gave me the real Vietnamese lines. So for really 1 week I just studied and I did a pretty good job, I think.
That's awesome.
That was one of the stories that just because I had no clue what was I doing and didn't. Now when I get a show, I do research. Who was the guy? Someone you remember, or was it not one of the leads? The tall guy, was it one of the show leads? Cool J.
It was LL Cool J.
Yeah, I was supposed to talk to him. I actually mothering him. I actually got very close.
You're fitting him for a clue. Okay.
So I actually got a very close. Interaction.
Yeah, you're like fitting him for clothes in the same nice.
Yeah, so it's LL Cool J.
And that's great. That's awesome. And what else? What's the show that you're currently on? It's on Freeform.
That's Good Trouble.
Our friend Cara Wong is on. It's Good Trouble.
Yeah, Good Trouble.
And what's your character? Who's your character?
I play one of the lead girl's mom. Mm-hmm. So I think the big break for me was the time when I was cast to do Veep.
Talk about that a bit, yeah.
Yes, the Veep is my manager sent me to go to the audition. So the day before the audition, I got this 12 pages script. Yeah. I'm supposed to audition.
12 pages for you.
12 pages for me to go to audition.
Pages.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
For the Chinese chairman's translator.
Right. So that was a big arc for you not to get all the story here.
So I got to I have my husband help me with the English part, Chinese part, no problem. I think one of the things is because the translator itself is not like you're playing a character. It's a character,
Exactly.
but it's a straightforward.
Yes, you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be visible, but you gotta be there.
Yeah. Not like I have to play, Samatrix, or I have to play the angry mom, or so anyway. So I just did the whole thing as who I am.
Yeah.
I went to audition. I, did my lines straightforward there, and then they have me did a couple of times, give me some, directions, and I went home in the afternoon. I booked the job.
Wow.
And I did 4 episodes of it. So that was one of the major big thing, I would say. I got to work with all these veterans, and learn a lot, still scared. Even this last, I'm back for the last season. Still, I'm just in awe with the, with the people there. Still feel just, of course, I have a long way to go, but just being there, I feel proud of myself.
Well, you should, from my point of view. You've done so much. Is there anything, what do you wish you were better at? And of course, that question, well, if you really want to, if you'd be working on it, like I want to improve my Chinese, for instance, is there something that you really wish you were better at, or that was more natural to you? Something you have to do a lot that still feels like work, basically, that you need to do a lot?
Definitely. I mean, just for the acting part, I think I feel like because I have a whole family, that my husband lost his job, there's a lot of pressure on me. I just planned that if I have a little bit more chance, I will go to take more classes and maybe try stand up.
Yeah, I bet you'd be really good at stand up.
Yeah, and going to take some more comedy classes. I think you never stop learning. That's why I still go back to do non-paying jobs. If it's a really good role, I still go ahead to do that, because just to keep my craft going. Right. And to me, still my family is still most important. Since my mom passed away, I still go to visit my dad every day. And of my children, my 2 children, I still have 2 teenagers. But in terms of my self-development, totally, I would like to improve myself more, and my goal is eventually to be one of the regulars in one of the shows in the future.
Well, I think that's probably going to happen for you. Who or what, second to last question, who or what do you most credit, besides yourself, of course, for your success? Is there any one person or a thing, a situation that you really think, that made all the difference? Is there anything that's like, there's probably 1,000 things you could say, but like, what comes to your mind? With
all the people who helped me on the way, I think that for this, the last 5 years, 6 years, that I could do so much and get to this point, it would be my husband. Awesome. But he hasn't really heard me telling him yet. But everybody else, he's there. Although because he lost his job, our family, financial situation is really, because he used to work. Because
that happened again. So it happened previously and now it's happened again. Okay.
He used to work for Disney online. He's a concept artist. Oh, fantastic. But,
that world's changing with digital artists. Yeah,
however, he's there. For these 6 years that whenever, like next week, I'll be away for our whole week. I have two productions. Then these 5 days, he has to take care of my 2 children, everything. Okay. So I would say, of course, my teachers, everybody like you, bring me back to the short film. But the person who mostly support is my husband.
That's amazing. Does he visit your dad as well, or?
Yes. But he doesn't speak Chinese. They don't speak the language very well. He still doesn't speak Chinese. You got to tell. He sounds like a great guy, but he's got to get on that. I try to get him to come to this show tonight.
Does he like Chinese food?
Oh, yeah. Love
Yeah.
Chinese food.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't want to invite myself because that would be rude. But when I'm back in LA, I think I know so many people over there in your general neighborhood that I
You gotta,
would love
yeah.
to. I need to. I love.
Yes.
I used to love when I lived here full time. I used to go out there with my a filmmaker friend, Elaine Shaw. We used to go whenever we would meet about something.
Mm-hmm.
We developed a few things. She would usually pick me up in Hollywood and say, "Okay, where do you want to go? Do you want to get hot pot? Do you want to get like
Hot pot and dim sum.
we'd be heading east. We'd be
Yes.
talking about which restaurant we're going to on the way." Last question: what's the best question that I didn't ask you? What should I have asked you, or what? Or maybe not that. Is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't occur to ask you that we should know?
I think we covered most of we covered almost my whole life.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Well, Lee, it's been really great to get to know you, and I'm excited to screen this film for you tonight.
Yes, actually, do have one thing I want to say. In terms of professional development in America and in China, if in China, I wouldn't think I would have the opportunity with chances here. In America, I have no background, 没有后门，没有关系, no background, no
the family and relationships, yeah.
All by myself, in a sense. I have all the support. However, when I go to that audition room, I don't have any relation. Yeah. So for me to get to now doing recurring guest star, that's the big thing. I want to say that I wouldn't think I would have this kind of opportunity in China.
I think you're probably right, given the different industries. Yeah. And I'm so excited for you that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
All right, that's the show this week for If I Knew You Better, and I hope you enjoyed the bonus episode. If you're listening on Big Fish in the Middle Kingdom, don't forget to visit crazyinagoodway.com to learn more about these shows, how China works, that I do with Ying Lee, or anything else. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next week.